Nice, love that.
Hey, this is from trees across the creek from my place, and the treatment is watercolor over gesso. This is a watercolor that we a group of us went out to Gasky and painted out there. That was a couple of years ago, I guess, wasn't it, Jay?
Mm-hmm.
And this one here is in Lake Earl, at the end of the road, I guess it is. And a bunch of us went out there and painted one day.
He's a tall guy.
As you may know, my name is Buz Stewart.
At this time, I'd like to introduce my good friend Buz Stewart. He's going to do a fine demonstration for you today. I know that because I've known Buz for about 16, 17 years. Now, shall I talk to them or them? Okay. He's quite an independent thinker. He goes his own way, and it's always, as far as I'm concerned, the right way. So I watch Buz, and I try to take advantage of what I see. So I think if without further ado, maybe you should all do the same. Buz, go.
Well, first of all, long ago, I was what is known in the field as a commercial artist in Tacoma and Seattle. And I thought maybe I would start out by showing you a little what I used to do so many years ago. And so I used to design paper boxes. These are very old and they're falling apart because this was over 50 years ago. And so these are some of the things I used to do. I worked in an engraving company. It was photo engraving. They don't have those anymore. Everything is computer driven now. So, and some of these, I did all the design and lettering on these pieces. Little things with the drawings and instructions how to bake them. Made just a brochure of gloves, and from the White Ox North Star Glove Company, and all the gloves inside also. So there's a lot of repetitious work. The Toby gel rolls, where we had to make all the little squares match up to the design.
Oh my God.
And
Is that hard to do?
well, it took a little while. And we used to do booklets and pamphlets and letterheads and business cards and lots of box design. All the little drawings and this is their one of their annual reports of Weyerhaeuser did me. So So this is what I used to do, and that was, like I say, many, many years ago. But I thought maybe it might be interesting for you people to realize that it wasn't all computerized, and it was all hard work at that time. And I wanted to show you a few of the paintings. These are mostly from doing on location. This is the mouth of the Smith River, and a group of us went down there and painted. It's hard for me to do that.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah. The little geese were on the edge of the river, and so I tried to put those in too. Kind of rough looking from close up, isn't it? This is at Lake Earl. A group of us went there and painted one day too. It's very enjoyable to go out and paint.
Where is that?
This is at Lake Earl.
Oh, it went off, I think something.
No picture.
Commercial.
Excuse me. This is at Gasky, and a group of us went there. You remember that, Bill?
Yeah, you would.
Bill's the one that instigated this paint out. So.
You never did bring the sandwiches, though.
Yeah. Well, there was plenty of fruits and vegetables there. And this is from my backyard. I'm looking across the creek and just at the trees. And I might add that this is done on top of a gessoed piece of paper. So what happens when you put acrylic or a gesso down first is that when you paint over, you can lift that right off and get right to the white. And it's very elusive. You don't want to get it too wet or it'll wash right down to the gesso. But it gives it a nice little extra things you can do. You can fool with it a little bit.
Is that what you did with the lower branches that will go across there, the little white?
Yeah,
Is that what you
that's
did?
all washed out right there.
Oh, that's great.
What
And that
weight
was
paper?
acrylics you were using, did you say?
Yes, acrylic or gesso. You want acrylic gesso, of course.
Watercolor on
On gesso.
What
Yeah.
pound paper? Is it 300 or 140? Can you do it like on 140?
This is 300-pound paper, but you can do it on
140?
140 also.
Do you have a particular tool that you like to scratch out with or lift the color
I
out?
just lift with the brush, with the point of the brush, generally. Although the edge of the brush sometimes will work. Okay, well, from there I guess better try to do something. So I have a couple ideas and they're just sketched on here. So.
Where'd you get that neat board, Buzz?
I borrowed that from Jay Mosley.
That's all the endorsement I need.
It didn't work.
You need those long point push pins.
Yeah, I think so. Well, this will work once I get it started. Now, one thing I forgot was water. I need some water.
This is like a fire brigade.
Right.
That's we're the only ones who can drink our medium. Frankly, the oil painters can't do that.
You just don't want to wash your brushes with
Some people have to dip their brush in the coffee instead of the water.
And Buzz, I like to point out that watercolor is really the only medium that has the name color, the word color in its name.
Yay for watercolor.
Well,
Buzz inspired me, you know that.
This is going to be a falling water stream of some sort, and hopefully I can make it look like a stream. And,
Don't forget the camera.
Sorry, he's right.
I will probably have a lot of trouble with that. First of all, I'm going to put some color on here, right to start with. So, I'm not really, don't really care too much about except that I want some, I do want some sunlight in here, and so this is what I'm doing. I'm putting some sunlight in, and
What color are you using for sunlight?
yellow.
That was a trick question.
Yellow and a little touch of vermilion in it too. But don't ask me too many about names of colors. I can tell you green, blue. What do I do now?
Go to page 4.
Heckling from the audience makes a much more interesting video, especially for best friends.
I may not survive this.
Who's driving? That's what I was
He's got the car.
Are you doing that from memory, or do you have a picture?
I did it at home
Oh, okay.
a couple times, so I tried it out. I don't think I can duplicate what I did at home.
Oh,
Excuse me. wrong. I'm trying to make this so that the background is kind of fading away. I don't know if I'll accomplish that or not.
Are you working on the 140 pound there?
This is 300 pound
300.
fab, oh. Fabriano. Oh,
That's why he brought Jay Mosby along.
yeah, that, Jake can talk.
Tell us what he's doing, Jay.
He's,
Making a mess.
Painting.
he's demystifying the process. Just pay attention. I told you he goes his own way. Now, let's follow him.
Don't follow me, you're lost.
Let's see, Buzz, I think you're beginning to set the scene, and in a few minutes, you should be starting to paint the painting.
Okay. All right.
You're working on dry paper.
Are you with me?
You didn't pre-wet that paper, did you?
Louder.
Did you pre-wet the paper or are you working on dry paper?
I'm working on dry paper.
Is that the way you normally work?
Normally, I work with dry paper, but that isn't isn't set in stone. do a lot of.
That's a light brush.
What I'm doing here is just giving the feeling of a rocky area coming down into the stream.
Oh, I see it.
That was a good one, Sylvia.
Don't pick me.
What size brush are you using?
This is I don't know.
A 1-inch, 3/4.
Too much attention to the names of things. I just pick them up and use them.
Excuse me, do you have a specific brand of watercolor paint that you use, or do you just use different kinds?
Well, I like to use Winsor Newton,
Okay.
but I do use other kinds. I have some Daniel Smith in here too. So, I'm trying to have a lot of fun with this, but I'm working at it really.
I would suggest that all of you try this sometime.
In front of a group?
Yes.
Everybody humble.
It's not always that easy. Buzz makes it look easy, and they tell me I do, but I don't know whether to believe that or not.
It's true.
The thing that happens is that your mind is trying to reach in 17 different directions at the same time, always with the thought of all these eyes. watching. And it can be intimidating, but we try not to let it intimidate us.
Well, the brain studies tell us too that you draw and paint from the right side of your brain and you talk from the left side of your brain.
Mhm.
And so it's very difficult to draw or paint and talk at the same time.
Yes.
I'm thankful for that explanation.
You're welcome.
You're,
A lot of research has been done on that subject.
well, my speech flow just sort of dries up like
Yes,
a creek in a desert.
yes.
You're doing good now, though.
Well, I'm not trying to paint. Bud was taking care of that today.
That's falling water, that's falling off the paper there.
Good flat brush like that really makes good rocks, doesn't it?
Yeah. It, you can, generally the watercolors used to say that, or the experts that I knew used to say, use the biggest brush possible for your watercolor. And I found that mostly to be true. There's times when I can't go all the way with a large brush, as you could probably realize.
We have such an alert cameraman, you'll notice. We are sitting in the last row, and we're seeing him jump from the paper down to his palette. It's wonderful.
Let's hear it for the camera lady.
The check is in the mail.
I use sometimes ultramarine blue and sienna for the very darks. And
You say that was Fabriano paper, Buzz?
yeah, it is.
Is that your favorite paper?
Generally use arches, but I think it was Magda Drewster from Gold Beach told me about Fabriano and the things you can do with it. And
Like, what can you do?
Yeah, what can you do?
if I can find the right brush. The thing you can do with Fabriano is there's a lot of lifting of color that you can do. So that's one of the things about it. It's a little bit smoother than the arches. Sometimes easier to handle, sometimes more difficult.
It looks a little wider than the arches, do you think so, Bob?
Yes, it is a little wider.
Is it as smooth as hot press?
Not as
Not
smooth
quite.
as hot press, but close.
Can we see another close-up of the back of his hand? There, good. I like that. No anatomical research there.
Ooh, that's hard to keep up.
I have a little neutral tint in my palette, but I have to be awful careful with it because it does get awfully dark. But sometimes a person just does need that extra dark.
More than dark, I think sometimes it makes things dull.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's why we don't use a lot of it, but just
Do you use it
touches.
straight or do you mix it with another color?
I usually mix it with something, not all the time, but generally.
And the only Brotherton used to use that for night skies, and it works wonderfully for that, but, you know, sunlit scene, it's kind of hard to use it. Unless you're very sparing, use it very sparingly.
I usually step back and take a few hours.
Does having to dry paper help to work for anybody?
Yeah, that's right. I had in mind that I was going to do some wet on wet, but I abandoned that.
Most watercolor painters save the white of the paper, as Buzz is doing, for their whites, rather than painting with a white paint because it becomes very opaque.
Yeah, like that one up there too.
That's one of the things that we all try to do. And, painting with the white of the paper is getting the brightness that you wouldn't get by putting an opaque.
Do you use biscuit once in a while?
Once in a great while, but I'm not very good at it. You know, I put it on and I don't put it on right or something, and it gives me a bad time almost every time I use it. So I don't use it too often. I was working on a painting the other day, and I was using it and found out that I was painting around everything anyway. So I thought, well, I'll just take it all off. So I did. I'm detailing now, so it
Here, because it enlivens the video. We especially want to hear where your voice is from.
We're too busy watching.
just saying that I've been studying some of the Chinese painters, and some of them that use the Trisket or biscuit or whatever you want to call it, masking fluid. And he said just to take it and pour it out on if you're doing a big piece that you need to have done, move it around with your finger, and I thought, oh, yeah. But I did, and then afterwards I just went like this, you know.
I don't like the screw thing.
Oh, that worked really well, and it was a lot better than brushing and trying to pull it.
Yeah, because of the brush jerk.
Because of the brush jerk, yeah. And that was kind of neat for big pieces.
But did it go where you wanted it to?
Exactly. Yeah, just move it with the brush. I could even get it into little corners with fingernails. Well, they don't have much fingernails. Yeah, it worked. Yeah, it worked. I had some beaks to do, and so I did those with it. It worked good. And then it just went like that and came off like very much.
Like rubber cement.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use rubber cement.
It went on smooth.
I had a book that I really was like 1/3. I've done
A
the
lot of water.
I've delivered it.
I
That
don't-
work. They go
yeah.
on easier.
The only thing I'm noting is if you don't have the right paper, you can, it'll seep into the paper and you can tear the paper surface, so I'm real careful about, I don't dilute it.
Another thing I've been told about masking fluid is don't shake it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the first thing we want to do is shake the bottle.
It's covered with all bubbles.
Well, it bubbles. and
Well,
it-
what happens is it has all these little emulsifiers in it, and they're sitting in the suspended fluid, and if you shake it enough, you're just gonna get a round ball in there. It'll all glue to itself.
Is that
so-
what happened?
Yeah.
This jar was old.
Well, no, you shook it, probably. Yeah, no, you don't wanna do that.
The lady says do not shake.
No,
I have
you
to
probably won't
rubber
get much
cement
out of your
that,
bottle
and
then.
I was able to use
Nobody
it
reads.
as a razor.
Yeah.
Looking
Does
good,
it say on the
Buzz.
bottle, do not
Looking
shake?
great.
Yes.
Well, that's good because I'm almost finished.
When all else fails,
I
follow
don't like hard
directions.
edges that are.
Yes.
Go back to negative painting.
You're good at making
Some of us need little specks.
That's new.
Did I do it?
Whoops. You lost your color.
Kathy, something's wrong with
It's
the
on
picture.
pause.
Kathy?
Look at the TV.
It's not Kathy's fault, it's my It's her fault. fault.
You know?
Hey, like that better?
Yeah. You got the perfect job.
How do you do that?
What did you do?
Don't ask. No time to experiment.
Okay. We're
I think I just discovered something that was
about as far as I want to go.
When you do this on occasion, how long do you normally to do a painting? It's still just around people in a group. How long does it normally
If I'm not
take?
doing it in front of a group,
Yeah.
oh yeah, 3 days. No, generally, like I said, I worked on this before, and I probably worked about the same time on it. And then I did several different things also. So, not only this one, but another one that I had sketched out there in case I wanted to do that one instead of this one. So there it is. It's it's helpful to sometimes put a mat around it.
Now the next painting.
Any more questions? I can answer anything.
How many hours do you think you spend in a week painting?
I draw every day, so and my painting probably not more than 3 hours for painting
A week.
a week. But my drawing, which I do every day, probably half hour to 3 hours a day. So, and a lot of it's just fun, you know.
Do you go out and do most of your drawing, or do you stay in?
I mix it up. I go down to the beach and I have a sketchbook, and I sketch the rocks and the water and stuff. And sometimes I even take a little palette with a little small brush in it, in a bottle of water, which I stick in my pocket. It's closed up tight. and I sit down on a log and I do things like this. So,
You did that down at the beach one day?
that wasn't that was down at the beach with a bigger sketch pad than I had. So that was. This is the north end of Lone Ranch here. This is Harris Beach. In fact, the painting is called Harris Beach Morning. This is McVeigh Park, which is south of Brookings on Ocean View Drive. I don't know if some of you might know that. But this was an early morning and an impression that I got. And I didn't do that on location. I didn't do this one on location, but this one was on location. This was from a photograph that I had taken, and this was just from here. If you get up close, you can see little touches of green that I put in there. Yeah. Actually, I wanted to put more of that little touches of green in there, and I forgot. so there it is. I've taken an hour of your time.
Do it again.